Today, I'm going to discuss the importance of focusing on one thing at a time and making sure that your intentions are correct when you are trying to do great things, and making sure that you're not putting too much on your plate. At times, you may have to divert your attention and split your time to focus on many things at once. This comes in handy when you have many things you are responsible for and enjoy doing. However, there is also a time for focusing on one thing to do the best of your ability so you can see greater results. This is aimed at people that tend to take a wrong approach in terms of time management, and they just chuck a bunch of tasks at themselves thinking that if I do 100 things at once, that's going to be better. Well, for you, it may work, but for the person I'm speaking to, that's not good. You should focus on one thing at a time, slow down your pace. In the space of productivity, personal development, and self-improvement, the people that divide their focus into multiple different tasks and facets of their life may end up being confused, fatigued, and overwhelmed due to the amount of work they put on themselves. This post focuses on those people with a simple focus. Now, the simple focus is to not overwhelm yourself. And again, to the element of some people do this with the wrong intention to look like they have a lot on their hands and to tell people that they're busy. So they're really doing these multiple things, whether it's managing multiple businesses, just so they can look great, but not so they can actually do great things, which is not what you should be aiming for. Because everyone can look great if they can paint out to be. The quote I'm going to be mentioning is the jack of all trades and the master of none. You probably heard this quote, and this quote is something that is misquoted because there is a full context to it. But if you extract this specific part of the quote, you can find some great meaning. Now, some people split their focuses so many ways that they don't even achieve anything in any of them really, and they don't achieve great things, let alone mastery. If we look at a new entrepreneur and he tells us, I spend my week focusing on 6 businesses, one for e-commerce, one for writing, one for athletics, one for this and one for that. You know, you get the idea, but it looks like it's great. But in some cases, like even me, I've gone through the process of that I would put on the image that I have so many on my plate, I'm so busy, I'm trying so many different things. But I get lost in the intention, and what ends up happening is my hidden intention starts to become one that I'm trying to prove to people that I'm good by showcasing this busy, mysterious kind of thing. And unfortunately, it's what happens when you become so focused on the people and how you can portray to the people that you're so great. But when you take yourself out of that environment of trying to prove yourself to others and really analyze what you're doing, you realize that if I add more to my table, the table's gonna break. I'm not really doing anything great. I'm just adding things and making myself more confused and more busy. So you would look at this person and think they have too much on their hands, and also with so many things to work on, will they have enough time to propel even one of these things to even some degree of accomplishment? I doubt it. I was once in the same shoes too. It was a mix of pride, excitement, curiosity, and ego that played into me wanting to manage so many things at once. If I was able to tell my family and friends, I am managing so many businesses, maybe they'll be proud of me and look at me as some big figure. There is a factor of insecurity and wanting the appreciation of others, wanting the validation from others. So make sure that you set your intentions right, because I'll say it, this is the most important thing you need to figure out before even starting your venture for a business or for a passion. Set your intentions clear from the start, and when you're honest with yourself, that's the best step moving forward. However, you lose sight of yourself and the original goal of creating something of meaning and turn it into a game of who looks the best rather than who is the best. So you become so you become so infatuated and your focus is on the people so much that you lose sight of yourself. Like, it's almost like you're in a crowd, and I don't know if you've ever seen Where's Wally, but you really lose yourself because you're so involved in the crowd and how you can make your family and friends and random people impressed with your tenacity and your passion to do multiple things, that you really start to lose sight of things, and you become someone who's more interested in looking like a great person than actually trying to do great things. So that is something you need to make it clear from now, and I hope that is a clear explanation on this topic. I'll give an example of walking up the stairs, and I'll give another example before I give this one. It's like a footballer who is playing football and they have a season ahead of them, but when they're playing a game, like a football match, in a football match, they are not thinking about the entire season of football games while they are playing that football match. They are fully invested in that football game, because if they start to lose sight of things and think about the upcoming 30 games, they're going to be confused. They're not going to be very good at the game because they're not focused on the game. In that same way, you need to focus on things you need to focus on one thing at a time, so you don't become someone who's confused and lose attention on what matters, which is focusing on one thing at a time. Especially if you're a person who likes to throw so much at yourself. The example of the staircase. When you walk up the stairs, focusing on one step at a time is what keeps you from falling down the stairs or missing key steps while walking to the top. So if you do find yourself managing so many different things that you don't necessarily need to, ask yourself, what is my intention behind doing this? And how can I limit the amount of things I'm working on? This is a question that you need to ask yourself, and I've asked myself this question. More importantly, I've asked myself that question, and thankfully, alhamdulillah, I've walked away from that side of things of trying to impress every person and forgetting the true reason why I do the things I'm doing, which is trying to contribute to the betterment of society. And this is something I've worked on over the past years, which is fixing my intentions and figuring out who I am and what do I want and why do I want it. And hopefully you can figure that out too. And it's an ongoing thing, so don't worry if it's taking you a long time to do things. So the next thing is, actually there's another post I do want to talk about, is the tricks of self-doubt, and I'll just cover it briefly and what the reason for this post was. So self-doubt is a form of resistance, like many others, that waits for an opening and weakness to strike you as hard as it possibly can. It is a part of your own negative thinking, so of course it isn't some physical entity that comes at you. And this post really just highlights that self-doubt isn't something that is very clear from the start. It's something that sneaks up on you like a snake, and it camouflages in the environment. And this form of camouflage is the small things that you say, the things that you think don't matter, is those small thought patterns and behaviors and habits. That's how self-doubt starts to appear, and it becomes something really big over time if you ignore it. And this post is a reminder that you should really be intentional behind the things that you say, and be wary of the things you say, because if you're not very careful and you really are someone who is invested, it's weird, but if you're invested in negative self-talk, stray away from it, because self-doubt will be something that starts to become it will turn into an avalanche from a small snowball. It'll roll down this massive snowy mountain and become a big boulder in your life. And I share that in my own experience. I've had times where self-doubt became a problem from small sentences that I didn't really give thought to. So yeah, that's something that I shed light on. Hopefully that's something that's valuable to you.